Hi everybody, it's Dani Carson with Oklahoma Life TV, and just in case you didn't know, I am actually a live music performer, and this week I am going on the Singing for Seniors tour all across Oklahoma, where we're making sure everybody who needs somebody has somebody during the holiday season for 2022. Now I'm going to different nursing homes, retirement homes, and assisted living facilities and performing live music for them. I'm also very honored to get the opportunity to interview one resident per facility who has a very unique story like today's. I actually got to visit with a young lady who is 101 years old and has one of the most unique stories that I've ever heard of for her time. This is Miss Orpa Epp.
I am from here around Corn.
How long have you been here?
We lived in Clinton for about 10 years, and then we came back to Corn here. I was born 5.5 miles northwest of Corn.
Can you tell me about what it was like growing up?
Well, we lived on the farm and we learned to do the chores. We had chickens to chore, and we had cows to milk, and we had cattle to feed, and we did that every morning and every evening, no matter how cold it was or how hot it was. It made no difference. They had to be cared for.
Did you go through anything different that most people don't go through in their lives?
Go through it? Oh, well, yes. See, I got married and we had 3 little boys, and then one afternoon a bad cloud came up and my husband was on the field working, and he was on the tractor, and lightning came down, struck him and killed him. And he sat there on the tractor, and the young guy that was working for us came bursting into my kitchen, and he said, "Lightning has struck and your husband is dead." And so I quickly took my little boys and got them all onto the car, and we drove onto the field where he was. And there he sat on the tractor with his hands on the steering wheel and his head bent on his hands. Still, he didn't move at all. And I took a hold of him and grabbed him and drug him off of that tractor seat and drug him into the car as fast as I could go. And then I took off for Clinton to the hospital to see if we could do something for him. And we drove very fast and got there, and we took him into the operating room, and I sat there in the waiting room with my little boys. Nobody else was there. It was not waiting or visiting hours anymore. And so the doctor came in there and said, "Your husband has expired." And I didn't know what was I going to do now. We had the funeral, and I felt so lonely. I didn't know how we were going to do it now. And my sister and her husband and little boy, they moved into our house at Bessie there and took care of the chores and did them well. I stayed by my parents for 2 weeks, and then it was time for me to go home. And I took my little boys on the car and everything we had brought along and drove back to my house. And there I was without a husband and 3 little boys to take care of. Well, my brother-in-law and sister stayed with me through that summer till school started. And then he had to move to Corn because he was going to teach in the Corn school. And my mother said, "No, you cannot live there alone. You move right here into Corn." She found a house for us and moved us into Corn, into that house. That's where we stayed the whole winter long. And my brother and brother-in-law said, "Now you have enough money to buy wood to build a house for you on your farm here by corn. And we will build it for you, and then you and your little boys can move in there. So that's what they did. They built me a house there, and in spring I could move in there with my little boys, and we got our cows back, and I milked the cows and sold the cream, and we got along. And about 3 years later, someone introduced me to a man named Elvin Epp, and we got to visiting together, and he asked me if I would marry him. And so that's what we did. We had a wedding, and we had a good home. He moved in with us, and he was a father to my little boys, and we just got along so good. I am so thankful to the Lord for how good He has been to me. And now here I am in the corn nursing home, sitting here and not knowing what I shall do now. I don't need to do anything. Everything is done for me. They cook for me, and they wash for me, and they clean for me. And what else is there to do? I just sit there and have to let them do the work. And I am very thankful to God that He has been so good to me. I want to thank Him for all eternity that He has helped me so much.
Thank you again to the Corn Heritage Village for having me and letting me perform for them, as well as going and interviewing Miss Orpa. If you guys would like to follow along with the Singing for Seniors tour, it's not only going to be here on Oklahoma Live TV, but it'll also be on Dani Carson Music. Thank you again to all of my sponsors who helped make this possible. My name is Dani Carson, and thank you for watching Oklahoma Live TV.